Hey, bubbling, coming in, crushing this art, super quick. So, I'm here to talk to you about the axes of truth and the axes of righteousness, right? We may think that what is true is what is righteous. We may think that's what's false, it's what's wrong. And we may equate these two spheres of reality, or these two different interpretations of reality, when in all actuality, what is true, it is what is standing. And this comes down to a level of yin, a level of circumstance, and a level of what we are able to go through. And now this is very important, right? Neither of these axes are greater, worse, better, or lesser than the other, right? These are all equal, but we still need to understand their different attributes, okay? So, on the scale of true or false, this is on the scale of how much something could be physically, realistically instantiated, right? So, aka, something that is true is something that is theory, right? And people may think, oh, I can just make up a theory. No, look into definitions, okay? A theory is something that maps onto reality, right? So the truer something is, the more theoretical, right? The more false something is, the more delusional, right? So, because when you start to examine a false thought, it will not map onto reality, right? So, this is how we know there is truth, right? And there is false. There's mapping onto nature and what can be, and synthesizing conjectures around, the actual possibility. And then there is synthesizing conjectures, dreams, and illusions around what is just false, what can't be, what is purely daydream. We are trying to go against the grain, delusion, right? So once we understand this, this is the nature of true or false. Now, what is the nature of right and wrong? Well, something's right when you connect to it, right? If something's meaningful to you, if it's deep down in your heart, if no one can tell you any other way, then it's right for you, right? Because at the end of the day, that's what you're going to do. That's your taste. That's your reason and objective, right? And this is something that you have to art. This is something that you have to be. Truth can be that everybody's dying. Okay, you could be the person burning the world and killing them, and you can be the person saving the world and totally in a cataclysmic nightmare because of this, right? But there's no truth that will tell you. Where do you find this? Well, you find this deep in your heart. You find this deep within you. And so this is right and wrong. And so this is how people will try to go to something as true as astrology, or something as true as science, or something as true as politics, or something as true as anything, and try to find themselves, when at the end of the day, these truths are spaces in which we test our righteous and wrongness within, right? Something can be totally true and totally working, and we could hate it, right? We could hate the way things could be, right? But it could be, you know? Like, for example, you're in a situation and you're in a family and you could stay under your mother's roof, right? But you hate that. Instead, you want to go out. Well, why? It's like your mother loves you. Maybe you're not in a household where your dad and your mother are trying to get you to leave, right? Maybe they actually are gaslighting you to stay, right? And that's the fact. So what tells you that you need to leave, right? The truth is the truth. It's the feeling that you want to be yourself, right? So in that circumstance, and then there's also the like opposite circumstance, right, where you're trying to find less of yourself and get away from yourself, right? So then what's right in that circumstance? You're going to think the right call is a version where you're able to stay at home, because when you're forced to move out, you're going to think this is wrong and people are taking you away from your security, right? So right and wrong has nothing to do with the truth. Same circumstance, right? But what is right and wrong has nothing to do with that. What's right and wrong has to do with your reason and how you're particularly growing, your particular instantiation upon the truth or the body and laws in which we find ourselves within, right? But the laws are still something to know, because wisdom is going to help you exalt your reason and your truth, but your truth is not something that um um or just truth is not something that can tell you your reason, right? And your reason is what's going to utilize truth, enabling you to surf and really ride the waves of time, right? Because when you can create that golden aura, aka using truth in a right perspective, getting both positives aligned and both negatives aligned, then you can create almost like a vortex in which will not only propel you forward but dispel negativity. So, bubbling Citra Beach out.